That's 352-369-1810. Or stop by their location, 5030 South Pine Avenue in Ocala, just past the drive-in. And of course, don't forget to visit them on the web, CaptainTUpholstery.com.
The very best in quality is Captain T's Upholstery.
All right, 22 minutes after 11 o'clock. Nice looking Tuesday morning. I sure hope you're doing okay out there. Thank you for tuning in to The Source, WOCA. You know, sometimes I go all out, Robin. I'll go to the grocery store and I will pay the extra 80 cents and get the high-priced eggs. Mm-hmm. You ever do this?
Yes.
Or sometimes maybe I'm cutting corners and I say, I better get the cheap eggs, so I get the store brand eggs, and they're not bad. But you can notice, you can tell the difference when you have both of them. You break open the 80 cent more expensive ones, and the yolk is just a little bit more yellow. A richer, darker kind of a orange, right?
Yes.
Than the cheap ones. And then one day, you brought me a dozen eggs from your brother's chickens.
Yes.
You say, my brother's chickens laid these. And my first thought was, oh, gross. And then I thought, well, wait a minute. Chickens laid the other ones, too.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, so I'm sorry I had that first initial thought, but I did. But anyway, so then I made breakfast with them one morning, and holy cow. I mean, they were really, really rich in color.
Yes.
Really rich in color. So there must be something to this. You know, Seinfeld makes fun of the what do you call range?
Yeah.
What do you call them?
Range roving
chickens or something like that?
Yeah. Range roving chickens.
Lucie B. Amundsen, is that how you say her name? She's on the phone. She wrote a book called Locally Laid, How We Built a Plucky, Industry-Changing Egg Farm from Scratch. I love the choice of the title.
I know.
She's a contributor to Reader's Digest, the Minneapolis Star Tribune, and she's on the phone. Is she in Minnesota right now?
I don't know.
I am. Hello.
Good morning, Lucie. How are you?
I'm great. It's beautiful here in Duluth, if not warm.
It's not warm. What temperature is it right now?
Oh, it's like 9 degrees.
Oh,
and the chickens are outside? Are the chickens outside?
You know, we keep them in unless it's 32. Just so that, because that it's not fun for us to be out at this temperature, and it's not fun for them to be out either.
No. So the book tells the story of how you and your husband came up with this idea to have a chicken farm.
Yeah, it was really my husband's idea. I am for sure a reluctant farmer, but he had been laid off from a job.
Laid off. I like that. Okay.
And he came home and said, I have this great idea that we love our backyard flock. We've had a similar experience where we were just wowed by the eggs. And he's like, everybody should be able to buy these, and no one is really selling them at a commercial level. We should be the first Midwest commercial scale pasture raised farm in all of the upper Midwest, and finding out that there's a reason why no one else did that.
Okay, I want to ask you about that, but let me just add something to my story. Not only did I notice, and I'm just not saying this because you're on the phone, and I don't even know what your response is going to be, but not only were the eggs Robin brought me from her brother's chickens darker, but they actually tasted, I don't know, there was more, the taste was more present. I'll put it that way. I would say they tasted better. They tasted the same, but the taste was more present.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I think what you found is that they tasted like something.
Yes.
That commercial eggs aren't bad, but they don't taste bad. They just don't taste like anything.
They don't taste like much. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And when our eggs, or eggs that we were making in our backyard flock, all of a sudden I'm like, this is a flavor I vaguely remember from my childhood.
Yes.
It's a real yolky flavor. And trying to explain it to people significantly younger than I am, who have never had that flavor, it's really hard. I'm like, well, it tastes yellow? I don't know how to explain it.
No, it is hard. It's like the tomato that you get from the guy in the corner who has his own farm.
Absolutely.
It's really, you can tell the difference between that one and the store-bought one. Not that the store has any bad tomatoes. I'm just saying it's the same flavor difference. So, do you do this now? I mean, do you have how many chickens do you have?
Well, typically we have about 2,000.
Whoa.
Right now it's been hard for us to procure birds because of bird flu, which I'm sure you heard about. So we are getting a new flock on March 10th. We're looking forward to that, but it's been harder for us to get chickens. But 2,000, which sounds probably like a really big number, it's very small in the industry. Typically, 30,000 is a typical flock.
The book is so nice to read. It's like reading.
fun.
It's like reading a novel. Yes, it is. You know what it's like? It's like watching one of those documentaries on TV.
Oh, well, thank you. Hopefully, it's funny, and people will get through some of the harder parts by being dragged through with a little levity and making fun of ourselves is our specialty.
Well, you talk about how chickens don't know how to be chickens.
Oh, our initial flock we could not procure birds raised, with natural light, like baby birds, and we ended up getting a flock that had been raised indoors, and they were terrified of the prairie. They didn't know how to scratch. They didn't know how to catch bugs and all the things that our flock and probably your brother's backyard flock are really good at. And as dusk fell, I'm waiting for all these birds to go into roost because, coming home to roost isn't just an adage, it's what they do.
Right.
And it's getting darker and darker and darker, and these birds are just staring at us. And they're like,
That was too silly.
oh, my God. They don't know how to react to the sun because they had never seen it.
So why do you have to buy birds? Can't you just have the birds make their own babies?
Well, you could do that, but it's harder to do at our scale, at a mid-sized scale where we're talking thousands of chickens. It's kind of like saying, "Well, you wrote a book, don't you make your own paper?"
Oh, really? It's the same thing?
It's a different industry.
That seems like a stretch, though.
Well, we would have to have another barn. It'd probably be a $200,000 investment in everything you need to grow your own eggs, to hatch eggs.
How long have you guys been doing this?
Just under 4 years.
So are you able to produce on a commercial level the eggs that we're talking about?
We do, and we actually have 7 partner farms who approached us and said, "You're doing all the stuff we can't do. We're not good at the business to business branding, getting earned media, all the things that you seem to be good at. We are really great at farming, but not so good at Twitter. Would you give?" So we partnered,
right.
So
Lucie,
they raised to our brand standard.
The book is called Locally Laid. Lucie, we are out of time. Lucie B. How do you pronounce your last name, Lucie?
It's Amundsen.
Amundsen,
but,
okay.
We're easy.
Amundsen. Call me if you want a copy of the book that was sent to me. The rest of us have to go buy it. Is the website locallylaid.com?
It is, where local chicks are better.
I love that.
Oh, man. You guys have fun in Minnesota, don't you?
Oh, we do.
All right, we'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. On Super Tuesday, Democrat Bernie Sanders hoping to pick up victories in states including Minnesota and his home state of Vermont.
Massachusetts is seen as a critical state for Sanders, who needs to rack up some delegates, as Clinton is expected to do very well in the South.
Fox's Molly Line in Massachusetts, where Republicans are fighting for 42 delegates.
Ohio Governor John Kasich has made a final push here in the Bay State. He made a last-minute swing, holding a town hall and a rally. The question is, will his efforts garner the attention that he ultimately needs to defeat frontrunner Donald Trump? Now, Trump has also invested some time here, holding rallies in Massachusetts and blue-collar cities like Worcester and also in Lowell.
President Obama today meeting with Senate Republican leaders who are promising to block his Supreme Court nominee, and the Rolling Stones announcing they'll play a free concert in Havana March 25th. It'd be the biggest act to play Cuba since its 1959 revolution. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Men, if you're like me, you appreciate the feeling of a clean, smooth shave from a quality blade. The sort of shave that cuts clean, without the burn. So why are you messing around with generic razors that cost $32 for an 8-pack, when you can shave with Harry's high-quality German-engineered blades for half the price? And if saving money and a clean shave isn't incentive enough, Harry's will give you their starter set, complete with a razor, 3 of their world-famous blades, and shaving cream for just $15. And shipping is always free. We'll also give you $5 off your first order. Our way of saying thank you for trying us. How are we able to save you all this money and still give you the best shave you'll ever enjoy? By owning the factory that manufactures them. That's how. So go to harrys.com right now and enter code 9911 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 9911.
We're saving thousands with Robert Palmer.
So rule number 1 is always shop around. Always shop around. If you're trying to get a mortgage, if you're trying to get the best credit card, if you're looking at student loans, cell phone bills, you name it, rule number 1 is always shop around. Always shop around.
That's rule number 1, just one more vital part of fighting back to stop being a financial zombie. Yes, you can take the mystery out of the complicated world of finances. Take charge when it comes to your money. Listen in on The Source, 96.3 FM and 1370 AM, Saturdays at 12:05.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Most couples get ring tattoos after the wedding ceremony, not for the engagement, which is smart considering 25% of all engaged couples, they never make it to the altar. Taking breaks help boost our mood and makes us more creative and productive. When a woman feels threatened, she tends to touch the front of her neck or play with her necklace because it's an area that's physically vulnerable. For men, their towel is fidgeting with their tie.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Here are today's headlines from The Source. WOCA 12 states across the country will hold primaries or caucuses today. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump could run away with Super Tuesday delegates. That has led to a rift among Republicans who say they will support Trump if he wins the party's nomination, and those who say they can never support the real estate mogul. In a Facebook post on Sunday, Senator Ben Sasse, a Republican from the state of Nebraska, said he would consider backing a third-party option if Trump gets the nomination. The most recent complaint about Trump seem to stem from his decision not to immediately disavow support from former Ku Klux Klan leader David Duke. Sasse, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, and others denounced Trump over the weekend. Trump, for his part, blamed his response to the question on CNN on a faulty earpiece and said he would disavow Duke and the KKK. Even with this latest gaffe, Trump's support among Republican voters seems to be unwavering. An average of polling data provided by Real Clear Politics on Monday shows Trump towering over top challengers Texas Senator Ted Cruz and Florida Senator Marco Rubio. Trump and Rubio will spend this evening in South Florida. And the Florida primary is 2 weeks away, but early voting is already underway. Secretary of State Ken Detzner says a lot of people don't want to wait until the primary day, and they don't have to. He said, quote, "I can report that early voting started in 17 counties," unquote. The secretary says people who voted by mail for a candidate who has since dropped out, like former Governor Jeb Bush, for example, are basically out of luck. He said, quote, "There is no do-over once you've sent your ballot in." Detzner went on to say, if you're in possession of your absentee ballot and you wish to change that vote, you are permitted, but once it's sent in, it is considered cast by law, and that's it, unquote. Detzner expects a good voter turnout in Florida, but he has not made any specific predictions. Early voting here in Marion County begins this Saturday, March 5th at 10 a.m. A bill that could shut down many of the abortion clinics in Florida has cleared its final committee in the state Senate and is ready for a floor vote. The sponsor, Senator Kelly Stargel, a Republican from Lakeland, says the bill would force clinics to meet a new series of state regulations. He said this bill is just putting abortion procedures in line with how we treat other similarly situated procedures. He went on to say nothing in this bill is removing a woman's right to choose, unquote. The bill also cuts off public funding for any group like Planned Parenthood that offers abortions. Senator Jeff Clemens, a Democrat from Lake Worth, calls it an attack on women's health care and reproductive rights. He said, quote, "And how many women are we denying health care services throughout the state of Florida simply because we're trying to find a way to restrict abortion services," unquote. Similar laws have led to the closure of at least 30 abortion clinics in the state of Texas. And new employment opportunities are coming to the Space Coast. Harris Corporation will host a career fair next week as part of its effort to hire 300 new technical and other open positions at its Brevard County operations. The Harris Brevard County Career Fair is scheduled for March 11th.